All right. Everyone's ready, more or less?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So today we'll be talking about organic modeling. Sounds good?
Yes.
So I have a message from Han really fast, and he's asking, did you guys watch the Modeling 1 lecture that he recorded last week?
No.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Oh.
Also, today's homework is making a cello, right?
Wait, sorry?
Cello.
Cello?
It's a music instrument.
Oh, yeah. So the homework was the cello, but he also recorded something that you guys need to watch as well. Yeah. So be sure to watch it in your own time. Yeah, just something for Han to make sure that you guys have done and stuff. Some pretty juicy stuff in there, especially with some advanced modeling tools in Maya. Highly recommend watching. I also learned a few things there myself too. All right, but today, so last week, you guys get to watch the recording. It's fine. But last week you guys learned about more or less the hard surface modeling tools, especially dealing with the cello homework. Hard surface modeling, you guys know, usually entails like modeling objects such as buildings, weapons, mechs, cellos, for instance. Whereas this week we're going to be talking about organic modeling. So organic modeling usually entails modeling like more blobby kind of like forms or organic forms, right? So here we're going to be talking about how to model your characters in particular. So I know that you guys have like, I think like a transformer as your character. I'm not sure if you guys have like any humans in your character or like not anymore.
How about like an alien?
An alien? Okay, cool. Alien's still very, very, I think applicable in this case.
Yes.
So yeah, sounds good. So we'll talk about like how to do organic modeling, which can be very applicable when modeling your alien. All right, cool. So the general workflow when it comes to creating a character. So I'm sure you guys are more or less kind of familiar with. I saw Hanoka, you drew some of the the front view, the side view, and the back view of the spaceship as well. So usually we start off with that with the characters, and then in organic modeling, we tend to sculpt the character out of that. So in a separate like sculpting program, we would sculpt like the overall shape as you would for like if you had a piece of clay and just kind of like molded everything out. Then afterwards, we would do something called retopologizing. So this is kind of a new thing that I kind of want to go over. Retopologizing just basically means how to make the high poly sculpt into something low poly mesh like this and have it such that the mesh, the structure of the mesh is like very deformable and riggable. Finally, after we retopologized our mesh and got like our overall like kind of more low poly model, we want to add on any like displacement maps or normal maps onto our characters. So you see like in the original sculpt, it's very, very, very high quality, right? Lots of details. So for example, there's like lots of scratches on the sky and like, extrusions from the stones and stuff. In displacement map, we basically add those textures on top of it. That's how we get like those high quality details from like a low poly mesh. Afterwards, you guys add the shading, do the texturing, render it out, and it looks pretty good. Sounds good? Questions here?
Wait, I'm not sure how to do the sculpt. We're gonna use Maya.
Yeah, so in your homework, I believe you can choose to use Maya for the sculpting. I'll do a demo on how to sculpt something out in this program called Nomad Sculpt. That's what I personally use. I feel like it's more important that you guys kind of like gain like, I guess, more of an intuition on how to sculpt, sculpting techniques, as well as like what are more or less the tools available to you, so like you guys can use whatever sculpting tool you guys want to use. Yeah, good question. Anyone else?
Is Nomad free?
Nomad is not free. It's like $20, but 3D modeling animation has a software reimbursement form that you can fill out and get like the $20 reimbursed.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, which Francis will announce sometime soon. I think hopefully this week. Yeah. Any other questions from you guys?
Maya doesn't have sculpting?
It does have sculpting. It's just really shitty, and it's also really slow. So I don't really recommend using it. Any other questions? All right, cool. Sounds good. Okay, so examples of good topology. I really like this guy's demo reel because it gets to show you like the overall, when we talk about topology, like how the mesh is structured around a character. So now let's move on. I want to show you this fun video as well. So then this guy, his name is Kevin Temmer. He modeled this face in Maya, actually. Sculpted and modeled in Maya. Use a lot of the internal sculpting tools to get what you want and extrude as well.
Was that for the actual movie or is that just like
Oh no, it's a replication.
Oh.
Yeah. It's actually pretty good though.
See, how does he already have the rhythmology already set up? Like, he didn't have to do it. He's modeling it.
Yeah.
He's
So.
cheating.
Oh, wait, sorry.
He's cheating. How does he already
It's
have
okay. I mean, he's been to animation school for so long, you know. He's a professional right now, but.
Keeping the fuck as soon as you get born and it messes up the.
Yeah, honestly, dude's super cracked. He, have you guys watched Digital Circus? Yeah, he's one of the animators for the show.
Oh shit.
Yeah,
Really?
he's really good. Anyway, good facial topology. You can get pretty decent results just by using Maya alone.
Yeah, but how? So it stays retopologized or something, or like?
Yeah, he just deformed the mesh so then it would follow like the standard facial topology. It's just like how he just extrudes everything, I guess.
That's insane.
Anyway, so general images of what a human head topology might look like. Everyone's, I guess, like way of topologizing faces can be a little different, depends on the person to person. But I'd say overall, people tend to group like certain parts of the face the same, as you guys can kind of notice over here. So for example, you guys notice this guy. It's okay. This guy made you know, a mesh loop around the eyes like that, and then we have some kind of section denoting like the keystone of the head, so kind of like this part in your head. Then also like more or less a loop around the nose area, and an overall loop kind of surrounding the mouth like this that reaches the nose as well. Then you also have like the lip loop over here, and then one for like the top of the lip as well. And then you have like this huge blob of like just regular mesh around like your cheeks as well. So yeah, those tend to be how people kind of like section off parts of the face. Sorry, you here for something?
Wait, is this 184?
No, this is UC Bug.
Oh my god. Okay, sorry. I thought.
No, you're good, you're good.
Oh, thanks.
But yeah, any questions about facial topology? General practices. Yeah, sounds good. So, more examples of facial topology, especially when you are sculpting a face out, it helps to basically draw on top of the face how you plan to retopologize your face. So for example, how you go from something like this to something retopologized like this. And in fact, in the demo today, we'll be using this overall like kind of outline to basically retopologize our face. So when you have the original sculpt, in most sculpting apps, what you can do is draw directly on top of the sculpt and kind of basically like plan out, you know, you want to add edge loops around these eyes, or like you want to add edge loops around the face like this. All right, any questions here? Sounds good? All right, cool. I'm talking about body topology. So I'm not going to be demoing this at all, but I feel like it helps to just look at references when you are topologizing something like a body. So for example, if you look at the body over here in this image, what you can tend to notice is that you have some particular loop around the shoulder area, as well as these kind of loops forming around here, around like the upper chest or like the collarbone area, kind of outlining where are I think, what are these called? What's muscles called? Not the clavicle. These muscles over here. These shoulder muscles. The shoulder muscles go.
Deltoids?
Yeah, the deltoids, exactly. So kind of like outlining where the deltoids go. Additionally, in some models, you can tend to notice some loops around over here outlining this back muscle. A lot of it is knowing where these muscles are placed within the body, but even without knowing that, you guys can kind of more or less get an intuition where these edge loops should go based upon how like a body should move, as well as just referencing these images on your own. So what this does is that it helps to alleviate any like clustered edge loops around like super tight areas. So for example, like you don't want too many edge loops around your armpit area where you don't need it to be. Sounds good? Yes. Okay, and then talking a little bit more about the body, like I said, you know, for example, like grouping out different areas of the muscles. So for example, the pectoralis is here, the deltoids, you know, biceps and triceps. Grouping these muscles together kind of help to, you know, give you a guide of how to like form your edge loops. So over here you have this back muscle over here, and then more back muscles over here, where the topology kind of flows alongside these back muscles. But like I said, you guys don't need to know like a whole lot about anatomy to kind of like get the gist of what you guys need. But it certainly does help. All right, questions here? Cool. Okay, for knees and elbows, I think this video does a pretty good job of just showcasing how everything deforms. So different kinds of topologies and how well they bend. I can't read any of that. So compare the left topology with the right one. No, I can't read any of that, but I think you guys can get the general idea. Let's look at the hands. Well, I think it's pretty satisfying to watch. What do you guys think?
Yeah.
Yeah? Anyway, yeah.
I'm just thinking about how annoying it is to set all of that up.
For sure, but I mean, I feel like that's just rigging in general. But I feel like Han is honestly more the expert when it comes to dealing with topology when it relates to joints. But I highly recommend referencing this videos when you guys come across like retopologizing elbows and knees. You guys can do the regular edge loops if that's what you guys want. But I suggest that, as you guys can see, like with the regular edge loops, it deforms a little less well than if you were to add like, you know, kind of this knee pad over here. Yeah. Oops. But yeah, that's not the only way to retopologize knees and elbows. Other 3D artists tend to do this kind of like this double loop, or kind of this double U loop for a joint. So for example, this would be the back or like the elbow of my arm. So having this loop over here and then this loop over here, and this would be like my I don't even know what this is called. Kind of like the soft part of my arm, right? Furthermore, this is what we kind of teach you in the UC Bug human modeling lab to create joints that kind of look more like this, where you have a U shape in this direction, and then you have like.
I think it's quadrivenous.
Oh, is that right?
I think it's quadrivenous.
Quadrivenous, like this?
This soft part.
Oh, the soft part? Dude, I don't know. I'm not an anatomy major.
It's called your weenus. It's yeah, refers to the loose skin of the joint of your elbow. Yeah.
But yeah, you can also topologize it this way as well, where you have like these two edge loops kind of encapsulating the quadrimenis, or whatever it's called. Okay, anyway. And then in addition, if you guys are thinking of modeling like any four-legged animals or like four-legged things in general, you would want to have like these edge loops kind of encapsulating where anything like extrudes around. Yeah, any questions here? Sounds good. Okay, so I'm going to provide a small sculpting demo on my iPad. So I have my iPad over here. I'm wondering if I could just directly share my screen.
3D model on the iPad. How strong is it?
Oh, it's a sculpting tool. It's not a modeling tool technically.
Whoa.
Yeah.
How strong is it? How many how high polygon can you go?
Pretty high for sculpting tools. Because sculpting tools tend to be optimized for dealing with high vertices and stuff. But it doesn't include any animation, doesn't include any rigging or like all of those kinds of things. It's only for sculpting. So then they'll optimize that.
And then you imported something else to model to get it rigged up.
Oh wait, sorry.
So you just model on that, and then you imported something.
Yeah, exactly. I'll show you the interface in a bit, but Nomad Sculpt tends to be my go-to in terms of like sculpting tools. Let me just stop the recording from over here, and then I'll start recording.
invincible.
Cool. So what we can do is that we can basically click anywhere on our mesh and it'll start adding vertices. So what I'm going to do here is that I'm going to add vertices along the keystone. Hi. I'm going to start adding vertices along the keystone. Just left click and you add vertices.
Real quick, sorry.
Yeah.
When I click the magnet, it just says make live is disabled.
Wait, what play is disabled?
If I click the magnet, it just says make live is disabled.
Make live is disabled.
Can you try clicking the drop down menu? Oh no.
Yeah.
Can you go into object mode?
All right, cool.
And then try.
Here?
Just click the magnet. There.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, there you go. All right, and then if you were to click on shift, then you see while hovering your mouse over these 4 vertices that this thing is going to highlight. And if you click on it, like left click, then we created a face.
Oh.
Looks good?
Yep.
Oh my god, I forgot to bring it.
Oh no, my
Oh,
computer.
add a mouse.
Furthermore, what you can do
Or
is that if you select an edge, you can kind of move it around wherever you want to.
Forgot.
And then if you kind of like select an edge over here, you move it around wherever you want, or like even the face as well. So it's very, very useful.
Oh, this is 10 times easier to
I know, right? Isn't it great?
To apologize. In Blender, you have to create a plane, basically like snap it onto the surface,
Yeah,
and then
it's a little
extrude it.
annoying.
I'm like, oh my god.
This tool is wonderful. You okay? All right. Anyway, this lecture will be recorded as well, so in case you guys get lost along the way, I'll just be following along. You guys can watch later on as well. So what you can do is just basically add your vertices, shift, hover over, click to make a face. You can do this for as long as you want. Yes. So click to make vertices, shift, hover over, and you make a face. Left click. Okay. Another thing you can do is that you can extrude just by hovering over, let's say, an edge. Then if you hit tab, click and drag, then you can extrude. So hovering over edge, tab, click and drag to extrude. Yes. So hover over an edge.
I can put on the
oh, okay. So first thing you don't turn on left voice on. Yeah. Okay. And then if you hold shift.
Shift,
And then move your mouse.
then click, tab, click and
look,
drag.
You created the face there.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you just want to keep clicking to create the vertices, and then shift click to create the face.
All right, cool. So what I'm going to do right now is that I'm going to add a whole bunch of edge loops that kind of surround our eye just via this method. And you could like just individually click and drag like any vertices or any edge loops around as well. So for example, if I want to move this around, I can just click and drag an edge loop. It's pretty nice. If you guys notice that your geometry tends to get congested and stuff, so for example, like maybe this thing is too wide and I want it to be too narrow, what I can do is that I can press the shift button. Then if I click and drag, then it relaxes out those vertices for me. So for instance, let's just say I have like a random mesh over here that I am going to make on top of the head. Oops.
I can extend that.
So if you want to extrude
So then I could like shift,
create two vertices.
click and drag, and then it helps to smooth everything out for me. And it's really, really nice if like everything's like kind of clustered together or too spread apart and you want to like even everything out.
And then
So shift, click and drag. You can also just like click while holding shift to kind of like relax it a little less, but you know, just do whatever you want.
or you can do this as well.
Yeah.
So
Sounds good?
if you hold,
How you guys doing?
hold tab,
Yeah?
if you hold tab,
Okay,
and
sounds
then
good.
Hover over an edge.
So I'm gonna make the edge loop around my eye.
Yeah, you see how it says extrude.
Oops.
Wait, no, a tab.
Make this edge loop around
So,
my
hover
eye.
over edge, an edge. Yeah, yeah. So this is extrude. So click and drag it out.
Ooh.
Yeah.
It might get a little complicated. You might have to move things around quite a bit.
I'm a superhero.
Always just sometimes use tab, sometimes click and use shift as well. So
Yeah. So when making your eye sockets or your eye rings, another thing important to note is that you want to have an even amount of faces or like edges on top of the eye with the even amount of faces on the bottom of the eye. So like whatever amount of faces is over here, it should be the same count as the ones on top. And this just makes it easier later on when you guys are rigging eyes or even just like attaching things together.
It's kind of close.
There you go. All right. But literally retopologing kind of actually takes forever. Feel free to put, it's also kind of meditating, so feel free to, you know, put on your favorite Spotify tunes and then kind of jam out while you're just like putting everything together. But, yeah, so I'll leave it to you guys to kind of like topologize on your own, but I'll show what you guys can do after you finish topologizing. So I'm gonna hide this high poly mesh. And then if you guys unhide retopo in I1, I2, I have retopologized everything for you. So this is what like the final topologized mesh kind of looks like using the structure that we drew out over here. So you guys can kind of notice like, you know, we have like an eye loop over here, a mask kind of capsulating the eyes over here as well, a loop around the nose, a loop around the mouth, a loop kind of going around both the nose and the mouth, etc., etc., etc. Also have ears here in case you want to do that as well. The neck is just kind of extruded down. So yeah, any questions about just like retopologizing in general, I guess? Sounds good? All right, cool. Should I talk about how to UV map a face or like I can just link them to a video?
Nah, we can do that in shading.
Okay, cool. You guys can learn how to UV map a face in shading. So yeah. General resources that you guys, in case you guys want to like learn more about retopologizing and all of that. So software for sculpting, kind of like going briefly upon, I know you mentioned like Blender, ZBrush as well. I use Nomad Sculpt on my iPad because it's pretty nice. You guys can use Maya as well, but it's kind of like, it's very buggy in my opinion, and it crashes on my computer a lot. Maya's like not optimized for sculpting, but you can get pretty far as we saw in the Kevin Temertunes like video when he made the Jack Horner guy.
No, that's also nice to get an iPad because it's a one-time purchase. It's only like $20. It's a one-time $20 purchase. It's like, yeah, whatever.
But yeah, I personally really like Nomad Sculpt a lot, so I highly recommend it. But you guys can like do whatever you want on Blender as well, or like even in Maya. Oh, another really cool thing I wanted to show you guys in Maya is these base models you guys can use. So if you go over to, I believe it's Windows, Han, where is it?
Constant browser.
Content browser. You see over here in sculpting base meshes, actually, yeah, sculpting base meshes, they have these models in Maya, like, just for you to just kind of play around. So, for example, there's like a cat one here. The topology is pretty freaking good. Like, there's a cat one here, and then I know there's a human one here somewhere. So if you look at this, face, you guys can also just reference the topology here as well. So the topology here is a little different, but you guys notice, like, you know, there's a more or less a little bit like a mask around the eye. This thing looks a little funky here. Yeah, this guy doesn't have a mouth either. Well, here's an alien. This one might be useful to you guys. I don't know if your alien looks like that though. Like alien topology. Yeah, kind of. right? So you notice in the joint topology, this is actually just like some edge loops like extruded out as well.
We don't have elbow topology in there.
Yeah, they don't. Or like even a human body. Oh shit, there's a lot of them.
Why would they spend time on these models?
Yeah, so I mean, if you guys also just want to use these to like, I don't know, use as a template, feel free. Or just reference the topology. Up to you guys. Just want to make you guys aware that it exists. But it's pretty nice. In terms of just retopologizing in general, these videos are pretty good in just walking you through basic retopology techniques. Using, I don't know why it says ZBrush. Oh, I guess it's just how to use ZBrush to basically make displacement maps and normal maps and all that kind of stuff. It's up to you guys if you want to do that. But head retopology, bottle retopology, highly recommend. This guy scopes out an alien. Yeah. Then UV mapping ahead. Feel free to watch this in your own time. Free topology resources. When I made this lecture, I referenced this playlist quite a bit. This guy has a really, really, really good tutorial for basically sculpting out a head, and then also retopologizing the thing, in which, from his video, I got like the, oops.
Oh, maybe.
From his tutorial, I just got like the idea of how to retopologize the face like that. All right, so for your homeworks for this week, individually, you guys will be doing the organic modeling lab. You guys can choose to do either the dragon or the human. The human has you practice how to sculpt like a basic face out in Maya and then have you basically retopologize it. Or you guys can choose a dragon, which I've heard is actually worse, but I think the dragon is more box modeling. Yeah. For a group, have you guys submitted your weekly progress slides?
No.
It's not square, but it's kind of PDF, but it's okay.
Yeah, PDF should be fine.
Yeah.
I guess it's up to you, Han, but yeah, and then make sure every single person writes up a 2 to 3 sentence kind of thing about what you guys worked on each week. Sounds good? Okay. Then aside from that, start box modeling your assets and start sculpting out your characters.
So that we're supposed to upload it onto B courses because it's like I don't how we can upload anything on B courses.
Some B courses. There should be an assignment that Francis made called, I think, like weekly team progress report.
Weekly team progress assignment.
Yeah. So if you're not a project manager, who's the project manager here?
I guess me.
You? Yeah. So be sure to upload your team progress slides. So basically, like screenshots of anything you guys worked on throughout the week. Just put it in there. If you guys want to type up some stuff, any bugs you guys ran into, feel free to just like stick it in there. And then in the slides, just upload them to this assignment over here. Weekly team progress, week 1. And then Honoka and Matthias, what you guys would do is that you guys would just go in this assignment and write like a 2 to 3 sentence kind of description in the comment. So for example, if I start assignment, just write like a 2 to 3 sentence summary of what you guys did in the week. Sounds good? All right, cool. Sounds good. Okay. That's pretty much all I have for you guys, but any questions?
Also, make sure to turn off
Is there a way to quickly perform edge loops in Quadro?
Quickly deform edge loops in Quadro. Like, what do you mean by deform? Oh, yeah, edge loops. I completely forgot. Yes, there is. So in Quadro, if you hold down Control and you just click on it, then you create an edge loop.
Okay, that's
Yeah. So Control, then
That's the
click.
way people are getting these perfect edges.
No, yeah. Sorry, I forgot to mention it.
There's no way.
I forgot to mention it. But like, yeah, this to make edge loops, hit down Control, and then click in
All right, that's
wherever.
gonna speed
Yeah,
things up so much faster.
it's really nice. Yeah.
Yeah, for the weekly team progress, what we're gonna do is, since there's a Friday event section as well, is to make sure you keep you guys on track and also